Apologies for the technical difficulties here, but we are ready for some U17 action. United States and Morocco. Josh Sperber, Jamie Lauder here as we continue our coverage of the U17 World Cup on State of Soccer with another watch along. Welcome in. We appreciate you guys joining us as we just got kicked off in Qatar. United States wearing their blue and red road jerseys with Morocco in their all whites. Here on State of Soccer, USA, one of three undefeated teams in the entire U17 World Cup. And Jamie, you take a look at the other two teams that were undefeated, two perennial powerhouses in world soccer, Italy and Argentina. I know it's U17, but what does this mean for United States soccer as a program, with the United States starting off with this kind of success?
Absolutely. I think it's only a positive thing. I was speaking about this the other day. I think it absolutely shows how well the US Soccer Federation on a whole is doing in encouraging young players to be playing senior football so early. You know, so many of this U17 squad have lots of experience in the MLS or in the USL leagues, and it shows. You know, you don't get through to this stage of the competition, and you don't play so well against some really good nations without having that experience in your team. You know, lads obviously like Cavan Sullivan, like Chris Cupps, Cooper Sanchez, they're players that have played consistently or at least been in and around the first team squads consistently for the last 12, 18 months. You know, so it's a massive success for the US Soccer Federation on a whole, and hopefully we'll start to see some of this improvement come through the national team over the next 4 or 5 years.
And of course, Cavan Sullivan has been the big story for the United States national team. He has contributed to a goal in every match so far and has been really, I think, the biggest reason for the United States' success. 3 matches, 3 Man of the Match awards for Cavan Sullivan, who gets the start in the middle of the park as a corner kick goes into the arms of the Moroccan goalie, Chouaib Belarouche. And apologies in advance for the pronunciations on some of these names. But United States starting with heavy pressure and a heavy dose of Cavan Sullivan in the midfield.
I think you did very well pronouncing the goalkeeper's name.
Well, let's hope you're right, Jamie. We'll take a look at the starting lineups for each team. United States in their conventional 4-3-3. Nimfasha Berchimas, Julian Hall, Mathis Albert from right to left up top as the shot from the Moroccan attacker Abdelhadi Edouadi misses wide for United States goal kick. United States brings Cavan Sullivan in the middle of the park with Jude Terry and Cooper Sanchez seemingly working as the attacking midfielder in their 4-3-3 formation, and the same starting defense for the U.S. that we've seen in 2/3 of the games in the group stage in front of Aiden Stokes. From left to right, Pedro Guimaraes at the left back, Enrique Martinez, Christopher Cupps, and Gio Villa. Same starting lineup on defense as the third game of the group stage, but Ramiz Hamuda absent from the starting lineup a second time. United States working in. It's Berchimas sprinting in towards the net. Ball popped up into the keeper's arms, and it's caught by the Moroccan goaltender. But Enrique Martinez has substituted in every single game so far for the United States, but Ramiz Hamuda has been excellent for the U.S. on defense. What do you make of Gonzalo Segares leaving him out of the starting lineup?
I think it's a bold move, but I think it definitely signals his intentions. You know, for me, I think it's a really good thing for the squad on a whole. You know, you see lots of nations at this stage in the competition that have probably played the same 15, 16 players in every game so far. But like we mentioned in the final match of the group stage, Gonzalo Segares' prominence to make substitutions, to change things, and include the whole squad has been one of the real sort of bright lights that you've seen in the early stages of the tournament. And it wouldn't surprise me massively if this starting 11 is the one that we continue to see for the rest of the tournament, however far the US team get in it.
Cross sent in towards the middle, but the shot's deflected wide. It looks like the shooter coming from Morocco was one of their midfielders, Nael Hadani. And it's still 0-0. And it looks, in the playoffs, usually managers will keep their lineups a bit more consistent, but the U.S. has made slight changes, it seems, just about every match so far in the knockout stages. So obviously, who knows how far they're going to end up going here. But another kind of interesting development, and this could just be looking at the formations on ESPN, they have Cooper Sanchez instead of Cavan Sullivan in the attacking midfield spot. Now, Sullivan can play anywhere in the middle of that park for the United States, but I'm surprised that he's not kind of in that number 10 role for this USA side in this key matchup.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I saw the team on Flashscore and FOTMob. It surprised me really if he doesn't end up playing as the number 10 as this match develops, and it's sort of a poor guess by all of the score providers or the football apps. And definitely early on, it looks like he's been given that sort of free role to get on the ball wherever he sees best to, really. So whether that is on the front line or whether we might see him dropping deep to get the ball on the half turn and make things happen. I think when you've got a player at this age group who's as good as he is, I think your sole priority has to be get him on the ball as much as you can.
Cavan Sullivan expected to join Manchester City in 2 years when he's eligible to take the field as a senior team member, currently in the youth system of the Philadelphia Union, where he's gotten on the pitch in MLS action and even in the postseason prior to this U17 tournament. Does seem like, if you're looking at the match on TV, that Cavan Sullivan is playing a lot more centrally located than it might suggest on one of the maps online. But each match this tournament, Sullivan's really been given free roam, as you've mentioned, to just go where he's most needed on the pitch. And that is something that he has done impeccably well so far this week.
Absolutely. I think, like I say, he's clearly a player of incredible technical quality and vision, really. So it's a no-brainer to get players like Cavan Sullivan and like Mathis Albert, who I'm sure you'll agree has been one of the other shining lights in the tournament so far, on the ball as much as you can, and sort of say to them, work your magic, let things happen, because he's got that sort of tactical maturity that you don't see at many players at U17 level. And like you say, he scored in the opening 2 games of the tournament or contributed towards goals, and he's a very, very technically and tactically intelligent footballer.
And if you watch him play before you learn his age, you'll be surprised to hear that he is just 16 years old. Certainly plays like a much older player, but plenty of talent, as Sullivan has led the United States so far in this U17 tournament. About 8 minutes in, still scoreless, about even on possession time, with the United States in slight control there at 65% possession, going against a Morocco U17 team. Of course, their senior team made waves in the 2022 World Cup, making a semifinal for the first time as a nation. And we'll take a look at how the U17 Moroccans line up. They have a 4-2-3-1 with, as I mentioned earlier, Nael Hadani, the lone striker, out front. 3 attacking midfielders behind him. That is Monsef Zekri, Ibn Salah, Zachary El Khaloufi, and Abdali Edouadi, with Elais Saidi and the defensive mid, with the defense Ilyas El Arbawi, Ilyas Hidawi, Bilal Sukrat, and Hamza Boudadi left to right in front of the goalie Chouaib Belarus. So again, apologies if I'm messing these pronunciations up.
Very well done.
Still, this is a Morocco team that is rapidly rising on the world stage in the sport of soccer, and certainly expects to provide a good match for the United States.
Definitely. Just take to the comments quickly. Random 92939 says, watching on the road to Houston, big task for Morocco. And I agree with Drew Baldwin. Let us know where you are tuning in from today. We're all back in the US under-17s in this match, and it is a big task for both sides. I think, like you just alluded to there, Josh, these are two teams, particularly you'd say Morocco with their form in the 2022 Senior World Cup, that have really shone on the international stage over the last couple of years. So it's interesting to see how the youth side stack up in this match today.
And I think Drew Baldwin has watched some of our streams before because, well, it is that time we start asking where everyone's watching from. I feel like Houston seems to be a well-represented state on these State of Soccer streams. And random 92939 also asked if Pat was playing. I'm not sure who you're asking about, but I don't see a Pat on the U.S. roster right now.
I'm not totally sure who Pat is either.
My guess is Pat Mahomes, and my answer to that is it's a different kind of football. But I'm sure we'll find out. Blair Ellis is asking us why not on Peacock, and well, we were actually asking that same question not too long ago. That's why we started a bit later than usual today, because we were also trying to find it on on Peacock. But Jamie has quite literally saved the stream and found it on FIFA Plus for free.
It was definitely a last-minute scramble job to try and put anything together.
But worth it to give this show to you guys. United States and Morocco, a little over 10 minutes in, scoreless so far. I want to also see who you guys are pulling for today. I know we usually have a ton of U.S. fans on this stream. But, we'll always find some people from different groups. We already have a Morocco fan on here. Amin Isame. I apologize if I'm butchering that one. I'm pretty much expecting to say about half the names on the pitch incorrectly today. So just bear with us as I trip over my own tongue. But Morocco controlling the ball. These teams look like they play a similar kind of buildup. Both playing through the defense, slow, calculated passes as they try to work the ball forward. We almost saw a mistake there, but a nice tackle made by the Moroccan midfielder Elias Saidi. And now they go the other way until Guimaraes makes a decisive intervention to prevent a goal-scoring chance for Morocco, as we're starting to see more offensive pressure in this U17 matchup.
Definitely. I totally agree. Morocco early on looked like they want to play football. They're really expansive. They're clearly in like a 4-3-3 shape, with the wingers touchline wide and the two advanced centre midfielders playing a sort of 2-10s in there, which in possession it is great. It's what they want to see, because if they can move the ball fast, then it really stretches that US team. But in transition, there's massive opportunity for, if United States win the ball, to exploit some of those gaps, and particularly Cavan Sullivan. If we talk about him having a free role, in possession, in transition, if he can get on the ball in space where it'll be 1v1 against the Morocco's 6, then it's a 1v1 game and man for man, and he can definitely make something happen.
And Morocco seemed to have widened their lineup as well. Initially, their formation was listed as a 4-2-3-1. Now it's a 4-1-4-1 with 4 midfielders going from left to right, and then Saidi is the 6 in the middle of the park for Morocco. So with that width and just midfielders clogging up the higher part of the pitch, United States hoping to use their wide speed to stretch out this Morocco side. And I don't think that's a bad strategy.
No, I agree that this is a man-for-man game all around, really. So with the United States looking more like a 4-2-3-1 against the 4-1-4-1 of Morocco, particularly in the midfield. It's 3-for-3 and everyone's got their man. So as a tactical battle, it'll be interesting. I think whichever team starts worst and has the worst spell over the next sort of 10-15 minutes might look to change that and have an extra body in midfield. But early on, it's going to be a really interesting tactical encounter for sure.
About 15 minutes has gone by as that ball goes forward for Zekri. Well defended by Villa as he goes back into the defense, and Morocco cycles the pass around. It looks like our resident Morocco fan, Amin Isame, is getting quite active. So a big shout out to Amin. We appreciate you dominating the comment section right now. So we want all you guys to join the conversation. And we've got an exciting match so far. Most of the play has been focused on the midfield with a couple of attacks that have reached the attacking third, but through the first quarter of this first half, it is still scoreless. Giuseppe D'Angelo joins us once again, former stream MVP here on State of Soccer. He might have the tournament stream MVP. I feel like he's watched all these games. We appreciate you guys continuing to tune into these. Hope you have as much fun watching as we do producing this for you guys. As that one goes out of bounds, looks like it's going towards the United States as the foul goes against Morocco. Gio Villa trying to take it out of his own zone. And that one going against Zekri from the Moroccan midfield. So a free kick for the United States. And it looks like it's going to be a good position. Blue and red jerseys clouding the box as Cavan Sullivan sets up on the far side of the field, trying to send in a dangerous pass.
It looks like Chris Cupps might be the target for this one as the United States look to bunch up at the far post.
Got a couple blockers in front of him. Cup does look free right now above that far post as the referee comes in. And my new favorite comment of the day is going to go to Michael Bourne. Was a disgrace that this game isn't on TV live. We agree, did cause a lot of stress on our end as well. But as we said earlier, it is on FIFA Plus, freely available for watch online. Hard line drive of a pass from Cavan Sullivan, but that one is intercepted by the goalie Belarus. And a well-placed ball, just better positioning by the Moroccan keeper.
Brush over my American slang. Big howdy to stateside stalkers as well, and everyone else joining. I
don't want to cause offense when I say this, but that might be the first time I've heard a British man say the word howdy. So we've got a landmark moment here.
Yeah, I'll be bringing y'all out in a minute as well.
The next one of these, you're not even going to have a British accent. Jeez, Jamie.
No. Fully converted United States nationalist.
Well, you cover enough for these games, and it's bound to happen. I don't know what to tell you there. Dangerous cross coming in from Morocco, but a poor touch by Zekri. It bounces off his upper thigh and out of bounds. And this Morocco team looking like the aggressors early on, getting a couple moves inside the 18-yard box. And that last pass was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's really good. I think that the key thing with that crossing opportunity and the one before is that Sanchez is sort of being left on his own in the middle. We said it'll be a man-for-man game, but with Jude Terry playing a little bit higher without the ball, it means that Sanchez is sort of getting sucked into a 2v1 where the 2 8s or 10s, the advanced centre midfielders from Morocco, are just making those box runs, are coming in late, which means that there's always going to be a free man in the middle. So it's really important that the United States cotton onto that early and make sure that there isn't a free man to attack these crossing opportunities.
And sometimes, especially with a more attacking 4-3-3 like the U.S. are in right now, there is that little bit of space in between the middle of the pitch and the higher line of the defense. And Morocco is going to have to exploit that if they're going to want to get some goals in today. We do have our first prediction of the day. Ricky Rishko, that is an O. Yes, it is an O. Ricky Rishko says that Mathis Albert is going to score a double today. Wouldn't surprise me, honestly. And Cavan Sullivan draws a foul. I thought I just saw a yellow card. Doesn't look like it's going to be coming out of the book, but it will be a dangerous free kick at the top left corner of the 18-yard box for the United States as Cavan Sullivan is brushed down by Soukrat of Morocco. So it
Yeah,
doesn't
Josh,
look
that's
like
exactly
it's a
what we were
card.
saying before. Sorry,
Sorry.
Josh, that's exactly what we were saying before there. Cavan Sullivan going into that wide left pocket. He's not restricted to staying in those central areas. He gets on the ball and wins a free kick in a really dangerous position for Mathis Albert.
Mathis Albert is the man taking the free kick. It's indirect, but in the corner enough that with his right foot, he might be able to slot it into that near left corner, which could be his aim. He goes for goal, but shoots right at the goaltender, Belarus, making the easy save. Once again, to Evan Kelleher, we just want to keep reiterating that we also can't find this game on TV anywhere. So it's not just you guys, but it is available on FIFA Plus with a free online stream if you'd like to watch it along with us. And Stateside Soccers saw Joey Tribbiani on the bench for the United States. I didn't know he played soccer. But in response to that, how you doing? If you don't get friends, then I'm very sorry. But 21st minute, still scoreless, United States and Morocco, and it appears that Safe Get Better says that it's online free on Kura as well. So FIFA Plus, Kura, there are ways to watch this along with us, but we are also mad that Peacock did not turn on the stream. And I did find a U17 match that I was almost watching alongside this one, but it's Brazil-Paraguay.
Ooh.
Very different. The United States, though, get on the board first. Sneaking a goal right by at the very beginning of the 22nd minute. Jude Terry with a great run through the middle of the park. And the United States get an early lead in the 22nd.
That was really good football. And like we say, we've talked about all of the key moments leading up to this goal. Cavan Sullivan in that left channel, he's not restricted to centre of pitch. And then we spoke earlier about Jude Terry being the one of the deeper midfielders that are bomb forward. He makes that box run unmarked. And that's a really comfortable finish. He's just putting it in the area where it's either going to take a deflection wide for the corner or in the back of the net. And yeah, really good from the United States there.
And certainly took a deflection. Honestly, I like the move by Jude Terry to go on the ground, because if he shot that in the air, there's no telling where that ball would have bounced. He just rolled it on the ground between a couple defenders and the goaltender, assuming that it would bounce in the right way, and it absolutely did. So Jude Terry getting his first goal of the tournament, Cavan Sullivan his second assist, as he once again has a goal involvement for the United States. 4 for 4 in terms of matches with goal involvements for the future star Cavan Sullivan.
Exactly. I think the build-up to that goal is exactly what we said about just before the match and in the early stages, where if the United States are going to go far in this tournament or foremost win this game, they want to try and get Cavan Sullivan and Mathis Albert on the ball. And both of the two dangerous attacks we've seen in the last 5 minutes have came down that left side with Albert receiving deeper and Sullivan running in behind. And when you've got players of that quality on the ball in this tournament and against U17 teams, then they're always going to create chances for you. And that's a perfect example there, ending with a goal, of course.
And the 2 assists on that goal, Mathis Albert, Cavan Sullivan, getting the apples for Jude Terry's first goal of the tournament. So 1-0 United States now in the 24th minute as we roll along here in Qatar. I believe this is the earliest that the U.S. has scored this entire tournament. We've seen a lot of late blooming matches in terms of goal scoring for the United States. I know in their last match, they scored the equalizer in the 30th minute, which I believe was their earliest goal of the tournament until that 21st minute go-ahead goal by Jude Terry. United States still in control. We've seen some dangerous runs by Morocco, but some even better counters from the United States. And they're not a team we've seen play a lot of counterattacking football in their first 3 matches in that knockout stage.
No, definitely not. I think this definitely is a different test, though. We saw in the last match, obviously, they were up against a team that wanted to dominate the ball, and they had to change how they played slightly. But that this definitely, like you say, seems more of a counter-attacking brand of football. But when you've got players in forward areas that are really comfortable in transition, what we saw in the last match, Cavan Sullivan's turn of pace frequently in that match, then why wouldn't you look to utilise it when you're under pressure a little bit?
We got Neural Skulkin joining us once again. Now that we have our two recent stream MVPs on the match, I think it's a milestone moment where we have 2 stream MVPs on one comment board. Love to see that. Welcome back, Neurals. He's also upset that this game isn't on Peacock. So, you know what? We feel you, buddy. But it is on FIFA Plus. I think Michael was asking about that again. And, well, Neurals, United States up 1-0. Jude Terry with a goal about 4 minutes ago. And it's been a pretty evenly played match so far. U.S. still in control in possession. About a 63-37 split in favor of the United States. Mathis Albert, Cavan Sullivan have been the 2 dominant forces on the United States offense, which has not departed all that much from the norm in terms of the rest of this tournament. But certainly the exact showing you want to see from the United States to start out a knockout stage match, as we're just past the halfway point in the first half.
Yeah, I think you can see already. We spoke about 10 minutes ago on whether either team would change their shape, and already immediately with the ball, you can see that the United States have opted to play Cooper Sanchez in more of a central role by himself, with Jude Terry and Cavan Sullivan pushing up and being the more advanced midfielders, which just gives them that 2v1 in the forward areas. So you saw in the opening 10-15 minutes of the match, the Morocco 6 could just sort of follow Cavan Sullivan and try and mark him out of the game. Now he's got 2 players to do it with, then Sullivan can drift into these wide areas like he finds himself now and create more.
Across from Sullivan, headed away. Berchimas flies in for the shot, but it misses. Saved by the goaltender. And now it'll be a corner kick for the United States. Cavan Sullivan, though, playing almost in the left wing slot there, making a beautiful cross in to set up that goal scoring chance. But Belarus getting the save. And now the United States back in the corner for the 3rd time today.
Okay, and Chris Cupps looks to be the centre of the action in the middle of the box. Interesting to see if he'll be a target for this delivery.
And there is a shorter defender that is currently marking him. Cupps looks like he's got about 3-inch height difference. Ball headed in. Looks like it was Hall who made the shot. Berchimas off the deflection, and it's caroms away, rolling back to the U.S. defense. Ball in from Gio Villa. Sends it across. Headed downwards. Getting on the end of it is Martinez. No good. Pinballing away. Cavan Sullivan tracks it down. Zekri makes a nice intervention, gets the tackle, and sends it the other way for Morocco. But a good chance on the corner kick for the United States, continuing that pressure as the Moroccan team takes it the other way. Going in the midfield now with El Kafloui in for a shot, and that will be poked away by the United States. Guimaraes there on the intervention. Now Berchimas sends it down the field, clears it past the midfield line. Morocco still punching in some dangerous chances, but it's 1-0 USA at about the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, interesting chance from the corner developed there. I'd like to see better first deliveries from all set plays, really. I think we mentioned it in the match against Czech Republic as well. The United States very rarely got any clear-cut opportunities from that first phase of the corners and free kicks, but that was a really good chance from the second phase. The ball comes back out to him, and just by keeping your central defenders and your bigger players in the box, you can create chances from those knockdowns.
But we've definitely seen improvement from the group stage on the way the United States have taken their set pieces today. They've looked like they've created some more opportunities in front of the net from those free kicks, from those corner kicks. And I mean, it might not be a deciding factor in the game to this point, but you got to still like the job that they're doing comparatively on those set pieces.
Definitely.
Morocco still in control. Martinez pushing out on defense with El Khalfioui. Ball deflected away as Morocco will get the throw-in. Half an hour mark of the game is upon us as the cross is sent in, easily caught by Aiden Stokes, who hasn't had all that much action in between the pipes for the first few games of this series, but when called upon, he has been quite dependable for the United States.
Absolutely. I think for me, he's one of the best goalkeepers I've seen at this age group, but coming and collecting the ball and handling the ball. We saw, particularly in the last match against Czech Republic, and just then, when teams put it under him and he's got to come and claim it, he nearly always does so with success and keeps the ball in his clutch.
And a great move by Mathis Albert after a nice run forward by Sullivan. Albert with a little back heel flick off the defender, and the ball goes off Buhati for a United States corner kick. Mathis Albert stands over it at the near post. Clever move by Albert there. As the corner kick in, swinger goes the far post, but Belarus is there. Little bit too close to the goaltender's line on that delivery.
Yeah, interesting setup there with the majority of the attackers for the United States being at the front post to sort of attract that marking in there, and then they try to find Martinez free at the back, but like you say, it was just a little bit too close to Belarus in the Morocco net.
Morocco sends in a corner, flicks off a couple of heads back to the white jerseys. Now, United States playing defense as a cross gets sent in, headed off a couple of different jerseys, bounces out of bounds. Morocco lets it go, and it's going to be their first corner kick of the matchup. And, well, I'm not going to say that name because that would be inappropriate, but our friend Mike with a good point. Crucial for the United States to do well at this tournament, planting the seed for success in the future. And, I mean, we've got player proof. United States might not have won that many U17 tournaments, but we've seen the likes of Weston McKennie, Christian Pulisic, Landon Donovan, some of the great U17 players go from this tournament to success in the national team. And getting some of these guys who will eventually play together on the senior teams, in that spirit of teamwork at this strong of a stage, always a good thing. And the United States certainly looking like they've got a good foundation in their youth soccer.
Absolutely. We talked about it earlier. The US under-17 squad is one of the best in the tournament solely by virtue of how many senior appearances each player have got. You look at, obviously, I'll be biased and talk about the England team. The England under-17s team has probably got somewhere between 30 and 40 senior appearances combined amongst the squads. Lots of them playing their trade in under-18 or under-21 academy football over here, but the amount of senior appearances in the MLS or MLS Next Gen or even the USL 2 over in America that is within this squad, and particularly the starting 11, bodes really well for how much faith teams and coaches over in the States are giving younger players. And like Mike says, it definitely plants a seed for success for the senior squad over the next couple of years.
And we've already seen a couple players as recently as this season in the MLS. Berchie Moss, who just made a nice steal on the sideline there. Obviously, Cavan Sullivan. Both players who played with playoff teams in the MLS earlier this season. As Berchie Moss, following the steal, gets taken to the ground, causing a little bit of a scrum on that far sideline there. Some heated words and a little pushing and shoving going on between the United States and Moroccan sides after Berchie Moss was tackled hard to the ground on that wing. He appears to be all right, but we might see the book opening as we do see the referee now taking out a yellow card for the first time tonight.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happened in the aftermath of that tackle on Berchie Moss and why the Morocco number 3 was on the floor here. I don't think it'll be anything more serious than a yellow card, but we'll watch the replay now.
Replay coming up. Yeah, I mean, that might not even be a yellow card. Looked like all ball on the tackle from Ibn Salah, but it's the extracurriculars after the play. A couple United States players took exception to that tackle. Julian Hall was in the middle of it. A couple Moroccan players as well.
Yeah, I think Julian Hall showed a yellow card there in the aftermath of that tackle.
There it is. Julian Hall gets the yellow. I don't think we get one for Morocco here. Just the one card going to Julian Hall, who was really the first player to kind of go after Morocco following that tackle, as we get a VAR card from Gonzalo Segares of the USA U17 team. I think he might have seen a little bit more menace in that Moroccan challenge leading to this scuffle, and maybe even a bit more than was seen by the referee in the little sideline scuffle that just happened.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to watch this back. Obviously, it was a strong challenge on Berchimas.
It's Berchimas kind of jumping over Ibn Salah that I think might be drawing the ref's eye, but I don't.
No, I don't think that's. I mean, you would potentially say it's a yellow card at worst, but I don't think there was any serious intention within the foul.
I mean, I think it seems like the refs got it right. You know, Julian Hall was the first to start the pushing and shoving, wasn't really in the play. But I think, now I see what they're looking at.
Yeah.
It looks like Hall didn't start the shoving. I think the United States coach is trying to argue that Zekri, who looks like he came in from behind Hall, shoved Julian. And then that is when all the extracurriculars really got kicked in. We just saw on the replay that it did look like Zekri pushed Julian Hall from behind before all that got started. So he might be getting a booking. I still don't think it's a wrong move. I still don't think it's an unfair move by the referees to show a yellow card to Julian Hall there. I mean, he wasn't involved with the play, but was involved with a lot of it after the fact. And it looks like we're going to get the result. So the head referee is coming out, both teams anxiously awaiting. And it seems like it'll still be the Julian Hall yellow card. And I don't think we'll get an extra one for Morocco. As that gets finalized, nope, we will get an extra one for Morocco. It is going to their central defender, Ilyas Hidawi. So Hidawi and Hall get the yellow cards in that scuffle.
Yeah, interesting use of the VAR card there from Gonzalo Segares, but you never know how important that yellow card could be as the match goes on, and you definitely wouldn't want to be a defender on a yellow card when you've got the likes of Julian Hall and Cavan Sullivan and Matthew Albert and Berchimas running at you. So it might play out to be a really good tactical use of the VAR card there to get him in the book.
Well, Julian Hall still going to be on that yellow card. How early do you think that Segares plays the Chase Adams card? Because the man dubbed Baby Holland is sitting on the United States bench. And after a yellow card to the United States striker, a substitution might be in order in that second half.
Yeah, I think Chase Adams is a player that you'd want to introduce to the game if you're level or trailing, regardless, because he is obviously an incredibly talented player. But I think if I'm Gonzalo Segares, especially when holding on to a lead, I think you've got to be confident that Julian Hall isn't going to put himself in the situation to get a second booking and jeopardize his future in the match and the tournament.
Couple new viewers today as Morocco can't save the corner on that one. So for Philip 5742, we are watching on FIFA Plus currently. That is one of the places that you can get the stream for free. We had another one of our commenters, Saif Get Better, say that it is free on Quora as well, Koora. So FIFA Plus or Quora. We're getting some help from the avatar on this one, so that's always a good thing. And my new favorite comment of the match from former stream MVP Giuseppe D'Angelo, that Julian should get a hall pass on that yellow card. I love the wordplay, and honestly, not too far off on that one. Falling down the stairs, one of the stranger names I've seen on YouTube, but props to you. I'm agreeing with you on this one. I hope they implement the VAR card in senior tournaments. And I want to hear your thoughts on this, Jamie, because in other sports that I've worked, instant replay is really becoming much more common addition, but VAR has received as much backlash as it has support since it's been introduced. So from kind of a coaching standpoint, how does the VAR card kind of affect some of the in-game situations? I mean, we even just saw Gonzalo Segares use that card to his advantage, but getting VAR into more senior tournaments, how would that affect the way you game plan for a match?
I think I definitely agree. I think it's a positive thing. I'm a semi-heavy basketball fan, an NBA fan over here, and I think having the card, I'm not sure exactly what it's called in NBA, the contest decision feature, really, in that sport, it is a good way to ensure that the game's played fairly. And as a fan of VAR in general, I think obviously the big sort of backlash against it, and the reason that it's not totally well received, is because people think it takes the emotion out of the game. I would disagree with that and say that I think the sport or any sort of game or competition is better when the correct rules are being enforced and that there's no wrong decisions. So I'm a big fan of VAR, but in terms of the VAR card, I think it definitely, like we've already seen with Gonzalo Segares, it changes how you think about the game, because even small things, a lot of people might watch this and think that a yellow card is insignificant in the grand scheme of things. But if the Morocco number 17, forgive me, I've not got his name to hand, receives a second yellow, then that could be massive in how he tactically approaches this game and ultimately the final score. So I think it's a massive positive, and definitely puts more onus on the coaching team and analysis team to be more picky, really, and what they decide to hone in on in 90 minutes.
The one kind of caveat I see to VAR is I've watched some games, Premier League, La Liga, whatever it is, where I'll use offsides for an example, because I feel like that is where it can get a little too technical. Like I've seen a goal get called back because a guy's big toe was across the offside line, and that got called back on a VAR challenge. So there's certainly some drawbacks in terms of like one of those where it looks perfectly fine in the run of play. You have to check the goals, which is a smart rule, but then it gets called back on some tiny little thing due to the technology. I think that can be a point of backlash as well for VAR.
Yeah. I agree. I think that there's got to be a margin for error. Obviously, offside's one of those things where with the technology nowadays, it's objective. Either someone's onside or they're not. But I think that there has to be more of a margin for error where you are taking the emotion and humanity out of the game, really. If you're saying, like, they're a player's big toe or a foot is just offside, it kills the reality of the sport, I think. So I would totally agree on that one, Josh.
I mean, that being said, I am still also a massive proponent of VAR. I mean, there are some things that refs are going to miss, but at the same time, there still has to be a human element when it comes to refereeing and adjudicating fair play in these matches.
Absolutely. I think the key bit of vocab that we'd use around it is clear and obvious errors. If it's a refereeing decision that is a clear mistake. I mean, if we go back to the one earlier in this match, was it a clear mistake not to give the second yellow cards? Probably not. So was it worth the extra 90 seconds, 2 minutes that they spent going and watching it? I think you could argue for or against that one. But yeah, definitely. I think VAR is very useful when applied in a sensible manner.
Well, Giuseppe D'Angelo doesn't seem to like VAR, but there are going to be some people on both sides of it, But I still think, as someone who used to actually run instant replay on matches back when I did productions, it can really help. There are definitely some game-changing calls that referees have missed sometimes in any sport that have gotten overturned by VAR and just gotten the right result out there. And I think for that reason alone, it's enough to have it at some level. But obviously, the overuse, as we've mentioned, is where it can get a little unfortunate. We were about a minute away from, a second away when I was starting it. Now we've got 3 minutes of extra time, a little longer, as we don't see as much added time in the first half typically, but a little scuffle about 10, 15 minutes ago, certainly giving some more added time in the first half. Jude Terry in the 21st minute has the lone goal thus far for either team. United States with a 1-0 lead, as Cavan Sullivan again taking deep inside the attacking third, guarded by two defenders, and he is pushed out of bounds by a combination of two Moroccan defenders, Ilyas El Arbawi and Walid Ibn Salah.
He's so good at that, Cavan Sullivan, just manipulating. We saw in that really good chance that he nearly scored that wonder goal against Czech Republic. He's so good technically at manipulating his center of gravity in his body, and he can win fouls, and he can just control his body weight to make sure that he always has full control of the ball. And as a defender, you can see the ball, and it looks like you might be able to take a little stab at it to try and win it, but straight away, then his standing legs back protecting the ball, and you give away a silly foul like that, which could be a real opportunity here for the US.
United States playing a little bit more cautious on their free kick attempt, already going back to their defense and resetting their offense. As the ball now goes forward, it's into Mathis Albert, who pulls it back out. Now to Terry.
That free kick there could be a sign of particularly the end of this first half, but more so the second half could look like for the United States. It's an intelligent decision. You 1-0 up with a couple of minutes to go for halftime. Is it worth putting the ball into a dangerous area and risk being vulnerable to a counter-attack? Probably not. And they've kept possession for the last couple of minutes until now anyway. So.
Yeah, as they just lose it there, kicking it out of bounds on a pass a bit too hard. But Morocco with less than a minute to try and equalize at the end of this first half. In the second of 3 minutes of added time, still 1-0 USA. Morocco playing through their defensive half to try and work the ball forward. A couple incisive passes, and they're in the attacking third. Try to find the striker, Chris Cups, attempting to clear it. Ball pinballs to a Moroccan. Ibn Salah misses on the shot, and that should just about wrap up the first half, as Aiden Stokes will head off the pitch to pick up the ball for a goal kick.
Yeah, that shows the danger of protecting a 1-goal lead. You can have the ball for 40 of the 45 minutes, but in that 5 minutes where you don't have it, all it takes is one Morocco chance and it's a level game again. So they have got to be smart in being cautious what they do in the second half.
Well, Aiden Stokes has the ball on the 6-yard line, and as he sends it forward on the goal kick, we end the first half. Jude Terry, lone goal scorer so far. Cavan Sullivan and Mathis Albert on the assists for the United States. They take a 1-0 lead into halftime in Qatar, and we will take a break on State of Soccer. We'll have a little match review after halftime in about 10-15 minutes as Morocco and the United States head into the locker room. Before we take a break, final thoughts on the first half, Jamie.
I think really good, really successful. The United States have now got to make that decision, like I say. Are they going to try and sit back and protect that 1-goal lead for most of the second half, or are they going to try and go and get a second and a third? We've spoken throughout the tournament so far, and particularly during this match, how successful the United States have been when they've got their ball into the really successful forward players and probably the best players on the pitch within that front four for the US. So it'd be stupid to try and not get it to them earlier. But I'm really looking forward to the second half from a tactical battle more than anything else, and Team Morocco really come at them.
Well, we have a trivia question to lead us into halftime from our friend Random92939, who is the only player to score a hat trick in all top 4 divisions of UK soccer, as well as the FA Cup, League Cup, and his country. I'm betting Jamie knows this one, but we'll have to find out the answer at the end of the half. United States 1, Morocco 0, U17 World Cup quarterfinal action returning next on State of Soccer. U17 action between the United States and Morocco, a 1-0 lead courtesy of Jude Terry. Back in the 21st minute, Josh Sperber, Jamie Lauder here on State of Soccer. And once again, we had some halftime trivia. Who is the only player to score a hat trick in all top 4 divisions of UK soccer, as well as the FA Cup, League Cup, and his country. And to echo the sentiment of Ben Stoddy, Jamie, where you at, dog? What's the answer?
I've got absolutely no idea. I agree with this comment from Ricky D. Play for Leicester. Jamie Vardy was the one that came to my mind. I can't remember if he scored a hat trick for England, so I wouldn't be totally sure. But no,
Well,
I wouldn't know off the top of my head. I need to wait for that answer.
We do have the answer, only because I looked it up, and the man who asked the question himself posted it, Robert Earnshaw. Now, have I ever heard of him? No. But I don't know a lot of things. So, we've got the answer. Thank you, Random2939, for that trivia question. I believe that's also a first. I don't think we've had a fan-induced trivia question at one of these before. We're setting all kinds of record here today, Jamie.
No, I really like that. I should have known Robert Earnshaw because I'm a Norwich fan, and he played for my club probably about 20 years ago now. So I should have known Robert Earnshaw, but really great question, Random. I like that one.
Well, we can always use more trivia questions or other fun ways to participate in the comment section. Obviously, we want you guys to join in on the fun here. Morocco starting to get some of their substitutes loosened up. What does Morocco need to do to get on the score sheet in this second half here, Jamie?
I think Morocco are going to have to start going for it. They've done really well in the opening stages when USA were defending with a double pivot. But now it seems definitely like Morocco are going to have to play more attacking, and similar to what we saw in the Czech Republic game, that might be a positive for the US when they start to open up a little bit more and allow gaps to play into, as we look and see what this VAR review is all about.
They're looking at the last challenge. It was Jude Terry coming up from behind against Abdelali Edouadi. Again, apologies for my pronunciation attempts. Seems like there was a foul on Jude Terry. From my guess, it looks like they're checking if he'll get a card. As the referee is coming out, doesn't look like we're going to get any bookings from this. It'll be a caution, but no card.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That there's no intent behind it. I don't think he's the pace that he's moving as well. He's just planted his foot down and was unfortunate really to catch the Morocco player's ankle. So I agree. I wouldn't give a card, maybe a yellow there, but it definitely wasn't Stonewall.
Yeah, certainly not an obvious decision, but looks like the right one for the referees. Just about 5 minutes into the second half. Jude Terry, the lone goal scorer for the United States. We have a third country now officially represented in our comments section. Giuseppe mentioned that he was watching from Italy, and Random92939 is watching from Nottingham. Yeah, Giuseppe again, reasserting Venice specifically. Apologies on my terrible memory. But Nottingham, Venice, and America. We've got quite an international display for today's stream.
Absolutely. And in response to Random 92939, I am from the northeast. I'm not too far from Newcastle. I'm in Darlington, if you know that. But I have loads of family down in Norwich. Such my support for them, although it's not one I'd happily admit a lot of the time.
Ben Stoddy, who I'm going to take a shot in the dark, knows Jamie from somewhere, is watching from Thornaby on Tees, which I don't even know where that is, but it sounds like a fun place.
No, I definitely wouldn't describe it as a fun place. It's not too far from Middlesbrough, over in the UK.
Now, I don't know much about British geography, but I have watched Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and there was one episode where Jeffrey identifies where whoever Cindy Crawford was playing, just based on how she talked. Is
Yeah.
that a thing? Like, is different accents from different spots in England, like, can you identify where someone is just based on how they speak to you?
Oh, absolutely. Amelia, I'm sure you'll know the Cockney accent. It is straight away an indicator if someone's from London. The Scouse accent would show if someone's from Liverpool. Mine's a bit more of a mixed accent, but I've got probably more of a Geordie twang, which would probably be a tell sign that I'm from the northeast. But absolutely, it's crazy. You can drive similarly to how I imagine it is in the US. I'm sure you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you can drive half an hour over here and someone will have a totally different accent. So it's mad.
I mean, it might not be, I don't know if it's as easy to tell where exactly they're from based on an accent, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you can certainly tell when there's someone from the South. And even in where I live now in Florida, there are some accents that signify certain parts of the state. But yeah, definitely interesting. And now it's good to know that one of my favorite episodes of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is somewhat based on reality.
Absolutely.
So big shout out to Jeffrey Butler. Still 1-0 United States. Morocco increasing the aggression in the second half as they try to make a move into the 6-yard or the 18-yard box. Good defense from the United States. We also have a representative from Houston, random 9239. I think he mentioned he was watching from Houston earlier today, as that one cleared away by Jude Terry in the United States. But always good to know that we've got people watching from all over the world. We really appreciate you guys joining in. We should have a stream for the next round if the score currently holds. United States leading Morocco 1-0, courtesy of a Jude Terry goal about half an hour ago. Ricky Rishko updating us on some other U17 action. Mexico with a 5-4 win in penalties in the U17 tournament. Big upset in U17 action.
Yeah, so we'll see whether that's a good omen. You mentioned at the start Argentina being one of the teams undefeated up to this point in the tournament, but now knocked out at the hands of North America, Mexico.
Well, one of the other three undefeated teams, United States, still very much in the driver's seat in this one as they get a shot from Hall, but a great save by Belarus to make it a corner kick for the United States. Cavan Sullivan starting the attack with a steal deep inside U.S. territory. And another question that we've answered quite a bit so far this match, this time coming from Mohammed Bukra. Apologies if that's not how you pronounce it. For some reason, Peacock didn't start the stream of this match. Can't find it on conventional TV, but our good friend Jamie Lauder quite literally saved this stream by finding a way to watch it on FIFA Plus. And one of our friends in the comments section mentioned that you can watch it on a different site as well called Koora, Koora. So Koora or FIFA Plus have free streams of this one if you'd like the TV action for this watch along. But we certainly appreciate you guys joining in on this one. 55 minutes about have gone by here. United States in control as a pass coming in from Cavan Sullivan aiming for the far post goes a bit long for a goal kick.
Yeah, we spoke about the US success in the second phase from corners. That is a really strong save from Belarus there to keep Morocco in this tie, and a really well taken strike by Burchamas. He's connected with the ball so well there on the volley, and yeah, good save to keep it 1-0.
Yeah, and it seems like the more this game has gone on, the more that he's had to do, the better Belarus has become for Morocco in net, as Morocco now with a chance, passing around the top of the 18-yard box, going back to their fullback, Boadi, as they send in a booming cross towards the far post, headed back in, cleared away by Albert, and now Morocco corner. And to answer your question, random 92939, we do not know the attendance. I don't know why it is not in the game information in the ESPN, but it does look like it's a full house over in Qatar. As the corner kick comes in, headed away easily by Martinez. And now here comes Cavan Sullivan. Burst of speed. He gets some room down the wing with some Moroccan players now coming to get him. 2 jerseys on him. And that one deflected away by the fullback, El Arbawi. United States on the throw-in, but Sullivan continuing to make an impact for the USA.
Yeah, those are the chances that the USA are going to have to make the most of in the second half. They're going to get deeper and deeper and be under a little bit more pressure because Morocco are a more savvy side than the Czech Republic. They'll really come at them with force and with quality, as we saw from that chance earlier, just cleared off the line. When they get the chance to break and they break into the open space, but we spoke right from the start of how open Morocco are in possession, they've got to make the most of it and try and get a second to just cement themselves as the team that's going to progress in this match.
And we've seen maybe some of the most dangerous chances against the United States taken from Morocco in this match as Albert comes up the left wing. He's taken down inside the 18-yard box, and the ref immediately points to the penalty spot. So a venomous run from Mathis Albert, and the United States have a chance to double their lead on the penalty kick. Qatar's head coach is looking at his options for VAR, but that seemed pretty clear-cut to me. Foul to Boadi, and Mathis Albert drawing the penalty.
Yeah, Stonewall penalty, and that's exactly what we were saying about Cavan Sullivan from the last match. Mathis Albert showing what he can do. When you've got a winger who's comfortable going both inside and outside his fullback, it makes it so hard to defend against. You can see there the Morocco 2 try to show him wide to the line, but it's easy. When Mathis Albert will keep going and he can run inside and outside you, then you've got to make a challenge at some point, and he's mistimed it there, and I agree. I think that was a clear penalty.
Yeah, no arguments from the referee, no VAR card from Morocco, and as Ricky Rishko says, easy penalty. And it will be Mathis Albert who drew the penalty himself on the ball to take it in the 59th minute for the United States. So Albert, Belarus on the PK. Here comes the shot. Saved by Belarus. And it's still 1-0. Wow.
I'll be really interested to rewatch this one.
This completely. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I thought Belarus got it maybe off his foot for a second there on first glance, but that is just wide right from Mathis Albert. A tough miss, but not by much.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to try and critique that from a technical perspective. It looked like he tried to go with obviously the inside of his right foot, and one of those that'll curl in, and he's just aimed a little bit too wide there and tried to go too precise into the side netting, where if it had probably went a little bit safer, obviously it makes it easier for Belarus if he dived the right side, but he's aimed too wide and just not got the curve back inwards exactly right.
So Boadi helping on the scoring chance, but it doesn't come to anything just yet. Morocco now looking for a handball that I don't think they'll get, as they'll now get a corner kick. Still 1-0, as the Moroccan side going instantly the other way off the missed penalty from Mathis Albert. And the ref whistling to play on the corner kick, despite the protests from the Moroccan side and their fans, as they'll go from the far side. El Khalfioui is the corner taker for Morocco. So we'll see an in-swinger from the left-footed El Khalfioui, or right-footed, excuse me. So he goes short, and now Morocco controls. And now has passed in this match. Cavan Sullivan knocks the pass away. And now the United States are going on the other foot. Jude Terry picks it up. Beautiful ball forward for Sullivan, but it's too tall and knocked away by Morocco. Going back to Belarus, who's had a really nice game for Morocco inside the net.
Yeah, it's a really dangerous time there for Mafis Albert to miss the penalty, because now all Morocco need is that little bit of momentum and that natural boost of energy that they'll get. And at this point in the match, all you need is 5 minutes of momentum, and it could completely turn the tie on its head.
And you can tell that Mathis Albert is running angrily right now. He just looks like he is on a mission after missing that penalty kick. Nice incisive run that he started as the ball goes back through the cycle of the United States defense. Heavy pressure from Morocco, though, as Jude Terry, that was Gio Villa, as now Terry will start the free kick on a USA foul. Villa cleared it away, ended up going forward as Hall was tripped up, and a foul called against Morocco.
Yeah, the USA, for the next 5-10 minutes particularly, like I say, have got to be really switched on here, because Morocco will start to sense the tide change and going in their favour, and the USA will start to get in their heads a little bit and make those silly mistakes. So they need a goal really in the next 5 minutes to just sort of set the tone and say, it's our match control here.
But the United States pushing forward. Hall gets the pass from Sullivan. Shot from deep. It's blocked. Looks like it was Villa on the attempt. And now the United States will go back forward as they get the deflection long from Chris Cups. Past an hour mark here. United States 1, Morocco 0 in the first knockout match for the USA in this U17 tournament. One that will take place in Qatar in the next 5 years. Jude Terry with a cross towards the middle. No one on the other end of it. Goes too wide, and now Morocco will take it the other way, but Guimaraes steals it right back. Good defense from the United States left back. Guimaraes on the ball again, but this time Morocco gets a step. Forward comes Eduardi as he bombs down the right wing for Morocco. Flicks it back. Gives it to his midfield. Low flying pass sent forward, deflected away by the U.S., and Terry now clears it past the midfield line, and Morocco starting to ramp up their attack.
Yeah, Jude Terry has got to make sure that he doesn't get drawn too far forward here. At 1-0 with less than half an hour to go, the priority has got to be protecting that lead. So it wouldn't surprise me if that midfield structure of the United States becomes more of a 2-1 instead of a 1-2 like we saw in the first half, just to try and give the back four a little bit more protection and hold on this lead and be more aware of the midfield runners that have been Morocco's main threat throughout this match.
And we see Terry dropping a little bit further than he did in the first half. USA committing extra men towards the defensive side as they try to protect this 1-0 lead. It's Zekri in control for Morocco as they go backwards towards their defense. Play switch. Ball going across the field, headed forward off the United States dome. Almost cleared away by Villa, but it's intercepted. Now Morocco gets it to Zekri. High-flying cross. Deflected forward on the foot. Can Zekri tie it up? Yes, he can. Will he be offsides? Hands raised by the referee, and it appears the flag is up. So we looked for a second that Morocco was able to tie it. We'll see if Zekri was offside. Certainly close. And yeah, on the replay, Zekri setting up almost out of bounds.
Yeah.
And that goal is going to be called back.
Definite offside, but for me, I think that the big thing there was that the first contact, Mafis Albert was more focused on the transition and the counter-attack. If they won the ball, that he left his man run off him and get a free contact at the back post, which he can't allow to happen. You know, the USA have got to look a little bit more like a 4-5-1 instead of a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 in the second half, because the Morocco fullbacks, like you see right through at the first team level, it's a key part of the tactical ideology that throughout all Morocco teams, you see it right up to Mazraoui, right back in the first team. They want their fullbacks to bomb forward. They want them to get on. So it might not be pretty for the next 25 minutes, but the wide midfielders, Mathis Albert and obviously Berchimas on the other side, have got to give their fullbacks a little bit more protection and make sure that they don't get a 2v1 overload down the sides.
Well, we do have the first substitutions of the match. 2 players entering for Morocco, likely some offensive substitutions as Abdella Wazane and Ismail Al-Aoud enter for Morocco. They will replace Abdelhadi Edouadi and Zakari El Khalfioui. So double-barreled substitutions for Morocco. And as you said, Jamie, they've really got to step it up if they want to get back on the score sheet. Jude Terry with another shot. Slide tackled away by Morocco. As we'll answer once again, it's Jeff Stumbaugh this time because we agree Peacock is a lie. It's true. They lied to us today. But fortunately, Jamie Lauder saved the day by providing FIFA Plus so we can watch the match. It's also on Kura. And random 92939 says something else we're in agreement with, that this is quite a fun second half in this United States-Morocco contest.
Totally. I think for the United States, like you anticipate, and like we saw with the second goal against the Czech Republic in the week, the first goal late on in the match, this is going to have to be a bit more of a transitional game for the United States. They won't dominate the ball, I wouldn't imagine. That they definitely won't have control of the game from a match momentum perspective, but they've got to make sure that they get back in numbers and also get forward in numbers, but when the transitions are on, you know, that's the only way they'll get a second goal and just reassert some of that confidence, because you can never be confident at a 1-0, especially in a knockout tie against a very good Morocco side.
Here comes Morocco as they run down the wing inside the 6-yard box, tackled away, pass out, but deflected over the net for a United States goal kick. And I actually did a little bit of research because I was confused as to, if you're looking at the scoreboard, you see the abbreviation for Morocco as MAR. Now, I initially thought that was for Marrakesh, but it's apparently for the old French name of Morocco, El Maroc, given to them a long time ago when the French, controlled Morocco. There's still a French-speaking influence there, so they still go by MAR instead of MOR. Their Anglified name. A little fun fact for you.
Definitely.
As Cavan Sullivan gets a nice lofted through ball. He's got a one-on-one matchup on the right, on the far corner. Tries to cut back outside. Passing it around for the United States. He goes to ground, but no foul called. And Jesus Flores found the correct word I was looking for. Thank you very much. When the French colonized Morocco, it was known as El Maroc. United States clear that one away. And now they got some room up the wing. Berchimas running for it, but a great slide tackle from Hidawi. Morocco quickly working it the other way. You're seeing them move, especially when the ball's not in play, just getting those throw-ins faster, starting those set pieces faster. Morocco really speeding things up in the second half out of necessity.
We saw that was the perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. Berchimas didn't track back and the Morocco fullback wandered and they ended up having a 2v1, but it was a poor cross from the Moroccan left back which allowed the counter-attack. But, you know, consequently, because Berchimas didn't track back and he was high, he could start a counter-attack. So it really is one of those where we sort of play hooky and say, well, go on then. If we leave our wingers up, just how attacking are you going to play? But in this knockout match in a World Cup, then you've got to assume that Morocco will throw everything at it. You know, so it's a real surprise to me that the USA haven't played a little bit deeper and set up in a bit of a low block with the wingers deep to try and see out this game. But we'll see what these couple of substitutes that the United States got lined up mean.
Yeah, Jesus Flores, I think, called these substitutions, calling for some late subs for the USA in about the 70th minute here. Haven't seen any subs for the U.S. just yet. 2 for Morocco. And do you agree with our friend Jesus that these U.S. players are starting to look a little gassed?
Yeah, this could be dangerous. Morocco calling the VAR card. I'm watching that. I struggle to see how this might not be given as a penalty for handball.
Yeah, this is not the first time Morocco has looked for a handball for the United States inside the box as they play the VAR review. It was on that recent cross into the box. I don't see where the handball is. It looks like it got off heads and tops of shoulders and kind of the non-controllable handball part. But on the final clearance, Enrique Martinez maybe had his arm kind of winged out a little bit, but it looks like the refs are coming back. I don't think they're going to give a handball for that one, and it doesn't look like Morocco is going to pick up the penalty from it.
I'm not sure. It's a tough one. I think it's exactly the same as we said in the last match. If he's judged to be having his arm away from his body to make himself bigger, then it could be a penalty. But it looks like it's not been given. And yeah, I'm probably a little bit more of the view that one could have gone either way, and the referee's decision there.
And they, I believe, just showed a yellow card to the Moroccan bench, who are clearly not happy with that VAR decision. But I think it's the right one. You know, the arm might have been out a little bit, but it certainly looked like Martinez attempted to keep that close to his chest. And in situations like that, that's all you need. We are going to see substitutions for both sides. In for Morocco, Ziad Baha and Nael Haddani will exit. The United States had a couple potential subs by the touchline, but I don't think they went in just yet. Outswinger from Morocco. Cups is the first to reach it, heads it away. Now Berchimas leaps forward, and the ball falls to Sullivan. He sends a dangerous pass to, that is Mathis Albert coming up the wing, but he is dispossessed. Great intervention from Ibn Salah.
Yeah, really good.
Whistle blows from the referee. And now the United States will bring in their substitutions. Jude Terry will exit. And on comes Maxi Carrizo, man who's worn the captain's armband a couple times for the United States. Nimfasha Berchimas exits as well, and he'll be replaced by Luka Moisa. So Moisa and Carrizo on for Terry and Berchimas. And Terry, the goal scorer for the United States, is on a yellow card, so that has to factor in to the substitutions there from Gonzalo Segarras.
Yeah, I think they're interesting changes from Segarras because they're not overly defensive substitutions, but I think both players bring that little influx of energy that they'll need. Like I say, this isn't a match where I don't think you approach the last 15 minutes by saying, come on, let's get in a low block, let's defend and sit deep. We've got to protect this lead. It's some way saying, well, we're obviously going to play a little bit deeper and get more men behind the ball, but you know, the push is on getting our best players, our forward players into the game and having that quality in transition. So I think they're two really good changes because both players bring a lot of energy and a lot of much needed energy as we approach this last 15.
And we're certainly going to be seeing energy from Morocco. We've already seen an uptick in urgency. The possession split, which was over 60-40 in favor of the United States at halftime, now 56-44 in favor of the United States. So they still have led possession in all four matches, as now Mathis Albert will see a yellow card after a dangerous foul. But Morocco is possessing the ball against the United States more than any other team has so far this U17 tournament.
Yeah, I think a big part of that is the nature of it being a knockout match and it being a real deciding one against a good team as well. You know, Morocco clearly want to try and keep possession. They wanted to from minute one, really, but USA had a little bit more quality in the first half. But as it gets towards these later stages, then I mean, firstly, that there's more pressure on the United States to try and play forward a little bit quicker and not risk giving up any mistakes in their own third, and for Morocco to really assert themselves and try and get the equalizer in this one.
And that is now 3 yellow cards for the United States as the pass from El Aoud, substitution from Morocco, rolled all the way to the goaltender. 2 of the 3 yellow card offenders are still on the pitch as Jude Terry was subbed off for Maxi Carrizo just a few minutes ago. Julian Hall and Mathis Albert both playing on yellow cards. 15 minutes remaining in this second half. United States still up 1-0 thanks to Jude Terry as Morocco goes back with their defense. Belarus gets it from the left back.
Yeah, you can see right now USA have transitioned to a 4-4-2 without the ball. They are just looking to play a sort of mid to low block, make it really hard to play through the middle, and see out this match.
Yeah, they're not exactly parking the bus, but they're certainly slowing it down and playing a much more defense-first game that we've seen, as is quite common late in these games and these big situations. And just to kind of keep showing where you can find this game as the United States get dispossessed in a 16-yard box. The game was supposed to be on Peacock. For whatever reason, they did not start the stream. I know Julian Cianez is now the latest to ask this question. Jamie and I are finding success on the free stream on FIFA Plus. Another one of our commenters said Kura is on there, and Microcap says that if you type in the keyword to this match, translate it into one of the language spoken in Morocco. They speak French, Spanish, a couple different languages out there. Then you can find a live stream, but FIFA Plus is the one that we have been using for those continuing to ask. We do appreciate you guys joining us on this live stream. And if the United States can hold on in these next 13 minutes and change, then we might see another stream as the United States moves through the knockout rounds. It would be Tuesday, the round of 16 matchup for the United States, and I'm not sure who they would play.
This is going to be the start of, well, I say the start, you've seen it of the last 5-10 minutes. Morocco pressing really aggressively with that front four now. We see they're still on the ball now. When the centre halves get it, that front four is super aggressive, and it'll be very brave if the United States decide to play out, because the wingers and the striker are joining them, pressing really aggressively. But the alternative, like we've just seen there from Chris Cups, is go long, where you're still underloaded with Morocco keeping 6 in their rest defense, and it's going to be a really tough 10 minutes unless USA have a couple more bodies back in the build-up.
Yeah, it seems like the defense from Morocco is almost now added that 6, the center midfield, the defensive midfielder, and the midfield for Morocco. All 4 of them are almost pushed up with their striker now, Ziad Baha, who came in for Hadani a couple minutes ago. We approach the 80th minute. Morocco tries to slice and dice its way into the 18-yard box. Mathis Albert, part of a defensive duo for the United States, that took the ball away from Abdallah Ouazzane. But Morocco still getting very aggressive as their defense controls the ball at midfield.
Yeah, I think at this stage of the match, particularly on the United States playout, it would help them to have another man deeper. So whether that's a third centre half or one of the 2 holding midfielders, potentially Maxi Carrizo, dropping in deeper to make sure it's not a 4v4. Because you can see the sort of wide attacking midfielders or wingers for Morocco are really narrowing up to press both the centre halves and the US fullback. So you end up being 4v4 there, and it depends how much they want to trust Aiden Stokes in possession. Obviously, we saw a similar picture in the match against Czech Republic, where they pressed similarly with a front 4, and Aiden Stokes got nearly caught out and nearly conceded when the game was still 0-0 in that match. It's looking like it's going to be a similar story unless the USA devote one more of their midfielders to dropping deeper to get on the ball and just giving themselves that extra number in the play-out for sure.
Surely could see some more defensive changes as well for the United States. Really, anything can happen in these final 10 minutes as USA tries to hold on for a lead they've held for over an hour now, Jude Terry in the 21st minute. He has since been subbed off as Morocco clears that one out of bounds, coming off the foot of Ibn Salah, throwing for the United States. It's interesting to see, though, as Morocco gets two substitutions ready to enter. Wassim Dardake and Ahmed Mouab are the two to enter. Ilyas El Arbawi is off for Morocco, along with Elias Saidi. And, Mouab and Dardake on now for Morocco. And this is two very clear offensive substitutions. Morocco taking all of their, I guess defense is part of the outfield, but the non-defensive, other than their back four and their goalie, it's all offensive players, all attacking players for Morocco right now.
Totally. They can see their intentions, and it makes it so much more important for the United States to be brave in transition now. Because, like you say, other than the back four, it's a very attacking outfield 10 for Morocco. So if the United States can make most of those little chances and little pockets where they can get forward and attack, then they'll get loads of success with the individual 1v1 quality that players like Mafis Albert and Cavan Sullivan and Maxi Carrizo have, that the Morocco defenders might not be able to deal with just as well.
To quote our good friend Giuseppe D'Angelo, this one is coming down to the wire. Still 1-0. Intense last few minutes of this second half with Morocco controlling the play. And Stray Catnip, we really appreciate. I hope that's talking about our coverage and not the U.S. coverage of Morocco's now almost 11-man offense. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully there'll be more streams for you guys. We'll be covering the United States as long as we can. If they win, hopefully we'll have a stream for you coming up on Tuesday morning in the round of 16. And if anyone does have some stray catnip, I could use some. So
I think catnip is catnip is it cat food?
I think it's like weed for cats.
Oh,
but I don't have too much. I had an ex who taught me about catnip like 4 years ago, but I don't talk to her anymore, so who knows? Maybe Stray Catnip knows. He's got a bunch lying about, apparently.
I think it's one of those terms that's not quite migrated over the Atlantic.
Surprisingly, I feel like all the pet stuff would, translate no matter which country the cats are in. But who knows? I don't have a cat, so I don't know most of the lingo anyway.
No, me neither.
We do have a ballpark cat, though. I work for a baseball team for most of the year, and there's quite literally like a tabby cat that just lives at our ballpark.
Oh, yeah.
It's so cool. As we have the substitution that I predicted when he got the yellow card. Julian Hall exits. The man dubbed Baby Holland, Chase Adams, enters for the United States. So that was a substitution that we expected. A straight number 9 substitution. Hall exits, Adams enters, and you got to think the yellow card for Hall had a lot to do with that substitution.
Yeah, for sure. Like you say, Josh, you called it as soon as Jude Hall got that yellow card. I really like that change because it's one that doesn't take away too much from your defense, but Chase Adams obviously gives you so much more going forward, particularly in this last 5 minutes. If they can leave him 1v1, I think it just adds that little bit of doubt in the Morocco defenders' minds. If they're going to commit, you would rather commit against a tiring Jude Hall on a yellow card than Chase Adams, who's fresh and ready to give it his all for this last 5 minutes.
And Chase Adams made his name more prominent on the national stage back in February, I believe, when he scored 10 of the United States' 22 goals against the U.S. Virgin Islands in a qualifying match for this very tournament. Largest margin of victory for any United States men's, women's, seniors, youth side, any U.S. national team has not scored or won by that many goals in their history, as we might see another substitution for Morocco. I believe it was Walid Ibn Salah who went down on a collision. No substitution corresponding just yet for Morocco, but they are inside the attacking third, sending a beautiful cross in, but it skips over every white jersey, or it's picked up on the edge of the box by Morocco. Zekri sends a cross in, a diving header clears it away for the United States, but it's picked up by Morocco right in front of the center line. Hawadi, the yellow card holder for Morocco, sending it into the midfield. Player down for Marrakesh. No foul called. Here comes the USA. Carrizo tries to wheel his way around a couple Morocco defenders. Couple players down on each side, no call, and Cavan Sullivan puts it back into the mixer. Hall goes down, and that'll definitely be a foul, maybe a card, but the offenders from Morocco, Ismail El Aoud, knocking Albert down to the ground. No card.
No, this is brilliant. So it's a good chance to just slow the game down and relieve some pressure for the US here. And it'll be interesting to see what they do, whether they decide to retain possession like they did at the back end of the first half on this free kick, or they want to have a little bit more of a gamble and try and get that second goal that they really need just to hold on to their place.
Yeah, especially this late in the game, a second goal would be a dagger in the heart of this Morocco side. But Maxi Carrizo now standing over the ball somewhere in the 30, 40-yard range, but he'll go backwards as they play it short on the free kick, opting to play it safe instead of going for goal. High press from Morocco, who now look they have two up front as opposed to one where they have played for much of the game. Albert with a one-on-one matchup on the wing, makes a nice spin move, tries to pass it in. He is blanketed by the fullback in Hamza Bouhadi, and it's Bouhadi who wins the challenge. Albert is down, currently next to the 16-yard box, so they might stop play to check on him. And Albert looks like he's holding his left oblique after going down to the turf following the last challenge.
Yeah, hopefully Mathis Albert's all okay there, but that's exactly what we saw in the build-up to the penalty. He's so good. He can go inside and outside that he's impossible to defend against 1v1 because you can't show him either direction. He does so well there with his back to the defender. You can see his right arm does so well just to hold him off and invite the pressure. And unfortunately, I think his legs gave up on him in that one so late in the game.
Well, trainers are coming on, and it looks like we're going to get a whole bunch of extra time in this one, especially with second half extra time and high leverage tournaments like these. Typically a bit more than you'd see in a regular match, but plenty of stoppages in the second half. My guess is we're going to get about a +5 in a little over a minute. Morocco sprinting down, top of the yard box, a shot and a near post goal for Morocco. 89th minute, and they tie it up. What a goal from Abdallah Ozane off the bench and onto the score sheet. And minutes before the end of regulation, Morocco ties it up with a last-second thriller.
He does so well there, that little turn of pace, and one of the new introductions, he does so well. The little fake shots he does it 2 or 3 times where he just threatens to pull the trigger with his left foot, and it creates a space for him. Instead of just dribbling naturally and keeping the ball in front of him, he threatens to pull the trigger. It's one of those that you see Mohamed Salah do for Liverpool all the time, where he just does those couple of fake shots, and it just gives him the extra space, the extra 2 yards to get a clean shot away. And I don't know. I guess the question you ask is, could Aidan Stokes do better? It's not far from him, but he gets so much power behind the strike, and he could go inside and out that it's a really good finish and a tough one to take for the USA.
So we are in the 90th minute. Looks like we'll see the first extra time for the United States in their first chance. Obviously, ends in regulation in the group stage, but in the knockout stage, you cannot end in a tie. Wazane off the bench and evening it up at 1-1 now in the 90th minute, +6 on extra time, as each side provides to prevent overtime here in this U17 World Cup.
It's really important now that the USA have a little spell, whether it's between now and the end of the stoppage time or additionally in the first half extra time, where they need to get the ball forward and put Morocco under a little bit of pressure. Because the more that they try and keep it and just invite the press, the more Morocco feel they could go on and win this match and have that momentum. They need to make Morocco aware, listen, it's still a tight game. We've still got absolutely a foothold and a stake in this match. And sorry, as we watched the replay of that goal, it's the deflection, actually, isn't it, that takes it away from Aidan Stokes.
And that means deflection has led to both of these goals. Jude Terry getting a couple deflections off a Moroccan defender and the goalie to get his goal in the 21st minute. And then a little over an hour later, Wazane off the bench gets a deflection off of, I believe, Enrique Martinez, who dove to the ground to try and block the shot. And for those of you looking to watch a stream along with us, it is on FIFA Plus, or as Microcap has repeatedly put out there. You can search it on YouTube for a couple streams. We've seen a suggestion for a site called Koora, Koora, as well. But we're using FIFA Plus. 1-1 the score. Wazane and Terry, the two goal scorers, as trainers are out on the pitch. Wazane, the goal scorer, getting looked at with a stretcher next to him. And it must have been a head injury, as that always will bring extra trainers out onto the pitch. 1-1 the score.
Yeah, you've got to hope for Azani that this isn't too serious after was probably the best moment of his career so far, just a couple of minutes earlier.
And he is getting well watched by his teammates, by a trainer. So we'll have some more extra time, 2 extra time, with an injury delay on the pitch. Wazane still standing on his own 2 feet, though, so that is certainly a good sign. And it does not look like Morocco is searching for a substitute anytime soon. But Wazane will head off to the side of the pitch temporarily, as we hope he is okay.
Absolutely.
But Wazane, he might have got the wind knocked out of him or something. Still is another player down. This one closer to the center of the pitch. Tough to see all these injuries so late in the contact, or in the game here. As we do have some Morocco fans on the streets, on the stream, gaming with Suleiman, clearly rooting for Morocco. And I might be American, so I'm rooting for the U.S. here, but you gotta love a comeback, a late game thrilling situation like we're seeing right here. I mean, this is just an absolute treat of a soccer match, as another Moroccan starter, Walid Ibn Salah, being walked off the field under his own power by a trainer.
Yeah, I'll respond to this comment. Can I ask why the English do saying "we for America"? I didn't know I consciously was, but if I have, then it's because, as addressed earlier, the howdy has made me an inherited American. So I'll be rooting for the US on a State of Soccer stream always.
We do cover a lot of U.S. soccer, so you can call Jamie Lauder a U.S. soccer pundit, talking head, however you want to address it. But he's worked plenty covering different levels of this U.S. national team. But thank you for your contribution to our friend Maghrebi. As one of the substitutes, Ziad Baha, getting some water on the side. Still haven't resumed play following the injuries. Morocco, looks like they have two different players on the side. Again, it's Wazane and Ibn Salah who were temporarily down. And we might get another 5 or 6 minutes of this extra time because it's been the last 2 or 3 at least with play stopped for this injury.
Yeah, this looks really bad for Wazane.
Wazane was standing up. He's now on the ground and might be getting put onto a stretcher right now. And that's bad news in a whole host of reasons. One, it's never good to see a player get stretchered off the field.
No.
2, Wazane just made a great individual move to tie this match. And Morocco having to potentially take off a player that they put in for the purposes of having fresh legs and an extra injection of offense. So a tough situation for Morocco, as they do have Younes El Bayadi getting ready, presumably, to replace Abdallah Wazane.
Yeah, I'm surprised the referees allowed the game to play on here with Wazane on the floor off the pitch. I know, surely it's distressing for the Morocco players and staff to see one of their own on the floor like that. But I echo your thoughts. Hopefully, it's nothing too bad for him.
Right on cue, ahead of the free kick for Morocco, actually. The substitution is officially made. Wazane exits. El Bayani enters for Morocco, as the Moroccan number 10, Wassim Dardake, stands over in a potentially dangerous position about 20 yards out, but an indirect free kick. Ball headed away. Martinez got a piece of it. Now chasing after it is Adams. He's able to get it away from Morocco, keeps it in bounds, and it's knocked away. No. The ref makes a late call that Chase Adams indeed dribbled it out of bounds. Luka Moisa indeed dribbled it out of bounds. So it's a throw-in in the attacking third for Morocco, still maintaining control of this match with the momentum coming from that Wazane goal.
Yeah, I think the key thing for the United States here is get into full time and through to extra time, and then really address what's happening on the pitch, both tactically, and from an emotional perspective, and really look to attack extra time with a different venom to what we saw in this second half, which has been mostly sluggish due to the momentum of Morocco.
And Morocco certainly with a part played in making the U.S. look kind of sluggish, but you're absolutely right. It's been a tale of two halves for this United States team. And I'm assuming that this U17 tournament goes by the rules of other international soccer, where we'll see 2 15-minute periods of extra time before a potential penalty shootout. This is the first game for the United States that have gone into extra time. Again, we saw earlier, as reported by one of our wonderful fans in the comments section, it was Ricky Rishko. Mexico took a game to penalties in a 5-4 win against Argentina for what's been the biggest upset of the tournament thus far. Morocco trying to follow suit and knock off the second of 3 teams that was undefeated in group stage. United States, Italy, Argentina reaching the knockout round with an unblemished record. But it is now a tie very late on in this second half. 1-1 the score, thanks to Abdallah Wazane, who unfortunately had to be taken off the pitch due to a collision and injury, as the United States plays it forward, knocked out of bounds by the Moroccan defender.
Josh, I've just had a quick Google on the FIFA U17 World Cup website, and it actually says in this article from January this year that in knockout fixtures, if a game's level at the end of normal playing time, no extra time should be played, and a penalty shootout will immediately determine the winner of the match. So we could be straight off to penalties after this.
Well, you should already trust Jamie more than you trust me, but he went from the horse's mouth and the FIFA website itself. So there you go. As usual, I don't know all that much, but thank you, Jamie, for clarifying that. As we'll get a goal kick for Morocco.
I'm very surprised to see that, but I mean, with so many games and such quick turnover for whichever team does progress, it probably isn't the best thing. Sorry, it probably isn't the worst thing for them to be missing out on an extra time period, but that makes
Right.
it
I
a
mean,
lot more interesting now.
it makes sense. It's just kind of surprising as Morocco with a dangerous attack. Shot weakly tapped at Stokes from Dardake, easy save. But I mean, maybe it's just because for me, I just called a soccer game for one of the D2 schools by me. They went into extra time as well, and they had two extra time periods. Of course, since it's college soccer, it was I think it was 10 minutes each period, so a bit shortened. But still, you have extra time periods that separate the game from the penalty shootout, as it doesn't look like will be happening here. But what is happening, with another Moroccan player getting some treatment on the pitch, we have a late tie. Abdallah Wazane, right off the bench, tying up the match for Morocco in the 90th minute. And now we will see the conclusion of this match, likely going straight to penalties in Qatar. United States, Morocco, a penalty shootout to define their next phase of U17 tournament play. USA Morocco for penalty kicks coming up shortly. If you are just joining us for this United States versus Morocco watch-along in the U17 World Cup in Qatar, you picked a good time to join us. Penalty kicks for the second time today in knockout stage action. Already saw a 3-0 team go down on PKs, Argentina with an early exit. And now Mexico, the team who handed Argentina their exit. One of their biggest rivals in international soccer, the United States, looking to stay alive and earn another State of Soccer stream coming up on Tuesday for knockout round action on the 18th. Josh Sperber, Jamie Lauder here. And one thing we haven't seen is the penalty subs, putting guys from the bench on specifically for penalty kicks. but we have seen two goalies who've been at the top of their game all night tonight in between the pipes. Should make for a very, very interesting penalty shootout.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the United States will feel a little bit disheartened that it got to penalties given how late the Morocco goal was. But I'm sure you'll agree with me, Josh. It was definitely coming. The United States weren't at their usual best in the second half. I mean, mainly down to the momentum that Morocco were able to pile on and the pressure they were able to put on. And yeah, that this tie will be decided by a penalty shootout that honestly at this level could go either way.
Yeah, it's really hard to, see who has the most ice in their veins or whatever it is at the U17 level. But for those of us who are still looking for a place to stream this as well, we are watching on FIFA Plus. That has worked for us all match long. So that would be a good place if you're trying to watch along with us. Morocco will be taking the first penalty. So it's Aiden Stokes in between the pipes for the United States and substituted striker Ziad Baha, the first to take PKs for Morocco. This is not the first penalty kick shootout we've had on State of Soccer. Two different MLS Cup finals, New York City FC and LAFC winning on penalties in these watch-alongs, and we'll see who does in this U17 World Cup. Baha starts off the shootout. Stokes guesses right, but can't make the save. Baha slots it into the bottom left corner, and Morocco gets the start with a penalty kick goal.
Good penalty. I think we'll see throughout this penalty shootout, it's a lot more genuine under 17 level than it is in perhaps the men's game. My work as an analyst now means that before we go into any cup game, you have to be on top of the penalty takers. You need to be aware of who's going where from the shootout, just in case it gets to that point. But it's a lot harder to do that at U17 level, where the players won't have played many games televised, and there won't be many records to show where particularly some of the defenders and non-regular penalty takers go. So it'll be a lot more of a genuine, natural shootout where it'll be on who guesses right and who puts away the good pens.
Shai Belarus, the goaltender for Morocco. Cavan Sullivan, the first PK taker for the USA. And cool as you like from Cavan. PK goal, upper 90 on the right corner. We're even at 1 goal apiece.
Very good penalty. I'll be interested to see if Mathis Albert takes a penalty in the shootout after he missed one in regulation time.
That is true. A PK could have given the United States a 2-goal lead in around the 70th minute. Albert also was almost taken off on an injury collision earlier on in this one. So we'll see who goes following Cavan Sullivan. Ismail El Aoud, another substitute for Morocco, will step up to take it from the spot. Your thoughts on having substitutes take the first 2 penalties for Morocco?
Well, it's hard to dispute it when they've scored 2 from 2 straight off the bat. No, I think it's one where the big one, obviously, for me being from England, was the Euros final in 2021, where I think Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho both got subbed on to take penalties and both missed penalties in the shootout. So it's one of those. I think if you've got players that are ultra confident taking penalties, and obviously in their training camps before this, they would have done lots of penalty practice. If those players feel that they're most confident, then that's the main thing when taking penalties. Obviously, the technical ability comes second to the confidence, and like you said earlier, who's got the ice in the veins to hopefully coolly convert.
Well, 3 shots, 3 goals, 2 from Morocco, 1 from the United States in this penalty shootout. And now Cooper Sanchez stands over the spot against Belarus, who goes to his right foot. Guessing right, and a save from Morocco. Belarus with a shot on the low left post. And now Morocco with a chance to go up 3-1 in PKs as they try to angle their way towards the second big upset of the day.
Yeah. An interesting run up there from Cooper Sanchez. He stared down Belarus the whole time as he was going up to take that penalty, and he had a poor penalty, but a good save ultimately from the Morocco goalkeeper.
Yeah, a bit lower, similar to that first shot we saw from Baha that Stokes guessed right on, but that Baha shot a bit further into the corner. And now Belarus with a decisive save. Here comes the Moroccan number 10. Another player coming from the bench, Wasim Dardake. 2 for 2 are Morocco so far. Here is the shot from Dardake, and Stokes guesses the wrong way. A big lead for Morocco now in penalties, 3-1. United States absolutely needs to score a second.
Totally. Good penalty there. And this is the thing, I think it can be a lot easier to come into these shootouts with confidence when you are the side that have had momentum and been in control for the last 45 minutes. And that's what Morocco bring here. They'll all be full of energy and buzzing and feeling like this is their shootout to lose, really, for how they approached the last 45 minutes. And you can definitely see already, it looks like the United States are feeling the pressure a little bit.
Chase Adams needs to score to keep this penalty shootout alive. 3-1 in favor of Morocco. And the man nicknamed Baby Holland stands over the spot. Unlike Erling Haaland, he shoots from his right foot with a laser down the middle. And he guessed right. But Belarus guessed wrong. 3-2 on penalty kicks. Morocco.
Yeah, barely even saw that penalty. A Panenka from Baby Haaland. Really coolly converted penalty there.
Not the second one right down the middle. Believe it was the go-ahead goal in the second match for the United States against Tajikistan. A Panenka from Cavan Sullivan right down the middle. They gave the United States a 2-1 lead in a game they won 2-1. Now here comes for Morocco, another bench player. Stokes guessed right, parries it away. Can he keep it off the line? Yes, sir.
Wow. My heart was in my mouth there as the ball started to bounce behind him. But really good penalty, guessed right. I hope this isn't the refs trying to dictate if Aiden Stokes was off his line. No, he wasn't. If you see his left foot there, it was on the line. It definitely didn't cross the line. Good save. Well guessed. Good, firm hand. And great reactions on the second one from Aiden Stokes. It would have been easy for him to jump off and wheel away in celebration there, but really alert and did so well there, Aiden Stokes.
That was Ahmed Muab, the penalty taker. And now to try and tie it up in this penalty shootout, Mathis Albert playing on a yellow card. He missed a penalty earlier. A necessary chance for redemption for Albert. Trying to even this one up. Albert shoots and an easy goal with Belarus going the other way. And we are all even on penalty kicks here.
I've got loads of admiration, for Mathis Albert there. That is exactly the same penalty that he tried to do earlier in the match, but you can see there a similar sort of technique. He's tried to go for the curve and he's not got much behind it, but the difference with that one is that his initial starting placement was better. If he's aiming that further inside the post and there's not much curve on it, then it is going to be a relatively straight penalty. But the one earlier, he aimed too wide and tried to just ask a little bit too much of the flight of the ball to come back inside, whereas that one's a much better taken penalty from Albert.
Morocco try to keep the pressure on the United States. Their first starter taking a penalty kick, a center back, Ilyas Hidawi, also playing on a yellow. 3-3 on PKs, 3 goals, 1 miss for each side. Well, 1 save for each side as well. Here's Hidawi. The shot, Stokes goes the wrong way, and it goes in for Morocco. And now another do-or-die penalty for the United States with Marrakesh up 4-3.
Yeah, it's exactly that, do or die. And there's been lots of studies into, what is more successful when you're taking a penalty shootout to go first or second. And generally, it's one of the reasons why teams like to go first, because now the pressure is all on the United States. Every penalty that they take from this step onward will be sudden death. So stakes are high.
And it is certainly that. Maxi Carrizo, New York City FC youth teamer, former captain earlier in this tournament for the United States. He will be taking the penalty kick as Belarus is getting some last instructions from the referee. 4-3 in penalty kicks. If Carrizo misses, Morocco advances. Left-footed Maxi Carrizo as the ref gets him ready. He shoots. And that is it. Belarus with a spectacular save going to the right post. He knocks it away. And for the second time today on penalty kicks, a 3-0 team in the group stage is eliminated. Morocco, a stunning upset of the United States. A 90th minute goal and a penalty kick shootout win. Heartbreak for the USA U17 side as their tournament ends early after a spectacular run through the group stage.
Well, it's exactly what you said at the end of the 90 minutes. It's a tale of two halves there. The United States took the leads, and I think for a large part of the second half, they got the game plan right. If Matthias Albert scores that penalty, then it's probably a different game. They wanted to sit back and allow Morocco a little bit more of the ball. Whether that was the right thing to do, who knows? Obviously, the scoreline will say it wasn't. But you've got a feel for that group of players, and for everyone really associated with the US Soccer Federation that had so much belief in this U17 side. They've been knocked out of the hands of a very good Morocco side, ultimately.
Yeah, and I still honestly, there are going to be plenty of people who are going to call this a disappointing result. But, I mean, I'm like, you look at this second half, and it's difficult to try and pinpoint what this U.S. team did wrong and where the game got away from them. This was just a simple fact of, best going against best when it comes to U17. And in that second half, the United States just flat out got outplayed.
Yeah, I think that I couldn't agree more. It's plain to see. Morocco are a very good team, and they had momentum early. I think the massive turning point in this match was Albert's missed penalty. I don't know if you'd agree, Josh, but up until then, even in the second half, the US national team looked like the ones in control of the match. They had, quite a lot of the ball, and they were creating chances as well. But that missed penalty just gives the whole Morocco team a lift and say, you know what, we can really do this. We can get in the game. We can be the team that progresses. And ultimately, it has the same effect for the United States, where everyone just feels a little bit lower and the pressure starts building a little bit. And going into penalties off the bat of 45 minutes, or at least particularly the last 20 minutes where you've been really under the cosh and really under pressure, it's never easy. So once it went to penalties, I think Morocco always looked like the side of a little bit more confident and a little bit more comfort to seal the game.
And I think you're absolutely right, because you could just tell that there was kind of a light that went on behind that Morocco team after Hall missed that penalty. And as you said, it changed the scope of the match. I think him making that penalty, this is still that penalty shot was after the hour mark. I think it was inside the 70th minute. It was definitely in the latter portion of the second half. And it would have put up the United States. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it was in the 70th minute. 2 goals up to none, United States against Morocco in the 70th minute. Very different than how the match actually played out. So I think you're absolutely right. A tough one to miss for Hall. Tough one to get stopped by Maxi Carrizo, and a difficult way to end this tournament for the U17. But it did show plenty of young United States stars. Obviously, we've talked so much about Cavan Sullivan and what he was able to do for the United States. He had a goal involvement in every single match of this tournament. But it's very clear that the United States don't just have Cavan Sullivan when it comes to prospects and just very talented players. Christopher Cupps, Ramiz Hamuda, Nimfasha Birching, so many impressive players that really, made their names known during this tournament. So for the United States, since we are a more U.S.-focused channel, Jamie, I want to hear, other than Cavan Sullivan, who impressed you the most from the United States this tournament?
Yeah, I think obviously Cavan Sullivan's the main name, but Mathis Albert's a player that I wasn't really aware of before the start of the tournament. And obviously his tournament will be overshadowed by the missed penalty in today's match. But I think he always looked bright. But for me, the big talent that I was unexpectedly really surprised it was Jude Terry. And obviously, he scored in today's match, but even against Czech Republic, he looked really comfortable, he looked really dominant, and he's a player that I'm really excited to see. But I completely agree with what you were saying, that obviously it's a big loss for the United States today, and it's one that'll hurt for a long time, both internally within the United States Soccer Federation and these players that were involved today. But listen, they've got to see it as a massive learning experience for them. This will help them a lot as they mature in their career, and that they'll have lows like this. Learning to deal with failure is just as important as learning to deal with success. And listen, the key takeaway is that nothing's changed now compared to before the match, when we were talking about the success of this group of young players and how much potential there is within this group. It's still the same group of players, and it's still a group of players that American football fans can be really excited about over the next 5-10 years.
Well, over the next 5 years, we will have 5 more U17 World Cups, all located in Qatar. United States expecting to qualify for all or most of them. Good news also for US U17 fans. Cavan Sullivan's only 16 years old, which means he's eligible to come back for the tournament in Qatar next year. So, before we sign off, obviously Morocco sets themselves up for, a huge run of success, late comebacks like that. I'm a big believer in momentum. That's going to really set Morocco up well for the rest of the tournament. But you look at some of these guys for the United States, you've got some younger players like Cavan Sullivan, but most of this team is 17 years old for the U.S. But with Sullivan potentially coming back next season, how does this match, this finish, set up the USA for next year's U17 tournament?
Yeah, I think it's great. Obviously, Cavan Sullivan being one of the players that can come back in it, I think it's a big experience, and I think it'll be a really good learning experience for Gonzalo Segares as well. For him as the coach, obviously, if he stays as U17 coach for the next 12 months, his experience of how to deal with momentum in matches, because I totally agree with Josh. I'm a big believer that momentum changes games and is really important at any level of football, but particularly when working with young players and under 17 players, where for many of them, this would be the biggest match of their careers today. When you're under the cosh a little bit and you can sense the pressure starting to increase, it's how, as an individual, as a player, and as a coach, you manage that group of players and say, it's okay, it's a setback, but we're going to come through it, we're going to pull together, and we're not going to lose this match. Those are the little managerial things that obviously Segares, a really experienced coach and player, will know, but isn't it, every day is a learning day for him, and I think this will definitely impact how he approaches knockout games, particularly going forward with the U17 squads or any squads that he takes charge of in the United States youth categories going forward.
Certainly a lot to be excited about for the U.S. youth national system, but an unfortunate end to the U17 tournament. Losing on penalty kicks, United States falling 4-3 to Morocco. Thanks to all of you for joining us, not just for today, but for the entirety of this U17 tournament here on State of Soccer. For myself, Josh Sperber, Jamie Lauder, who was my broadcast partner for the majority of this, and of course in today's match. Really appreciate you joining along. Always a pleasure to talk soccer with you there, Jamie. And also got to give a big shout out to the man in charge, Brian McDonough. Drew Monroe also joined us for game 1 of this U17 tournament. So to all the wonderful people at State of Soccer, on behalf of all of us, and of course to all of you guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this, and we'll hope to have a whole lot more streams for you guys going forward. I know we're going to try and do the MLS Cup again next month when the final rolls around. I'm hoping it's going to be another one for New York City FC, but that's neither here nor there. We'll definitely have more of these watch-alongs for you guys. Make sure to give us a like, a follow, subscribe, and you can see our social media handles below as well at SO Soccer TV on X and Instagram. And well, you should already be on the YouTube channel, so just hit that subscribe button, and that will get you where you want to go. So, any final thoughts before we sign off, Jamie?
No, massive thank you to yourself for having me. It's always great to talk with you as well, Josh, and obviously to Brian as well for making this whole thing go. And I totally echo your comments. Big thank you to everyone that's joined us, that's commented over the matches, and hopefully we were able to give you a little bit more confidence in the state of United States soccer going forward over the next couple of years.
Well, that's certainly the goal, and we'll have more chances to do that over the course of the season. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll have many more of these to come for you. But until then, we appreciate your participation in the comment section. This might have been the most full comments of the entire week or so that we've been doing these streams, so we love that. And thank you guys once again for tuning in. So thanks again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll see you very soon discussing the state of soccer. Have a great one, everybody.